Today I'm playing the worst college football game of all time, and you might be wondering which one that is, but it's not that simple. See, because how amazing of a job EA did on the NCAA football series, I couldn't find any games that were actually rated bad, but after combining rankings from 3 different sites, I figured out the worst ones they've ever released, and coming in at number 3 is NCAA Football 12. Then, according to the ratings, NCAA Football 13 is at number 2, and the worst one ever is apparently NCAA Football 09, so I've got it loaded up and we're gonna dive into it today.
EA Sports. It's in the game.
I'm going to play all the game modes in this video, and I've even heard there's a way to play horse. The first thing I did was select my favorite school, and even though I loved hearing this menu music, I was devastated because the first thing I noticed that was missing from the game was create a team. I could still create a player, so I put myself in it, and I'm going to be throwing the ball with a boxing glove on my hand. Now, it looks like this game has Dynasty mode, Campus Legend, which I think is Road to Glory, and Mascot matchup, which we all expected, but the one thing that stood out to me was all of these mini games. I want to play these first. Like, how is there going to be tug-of-war in NCAA football? It says starting from midfield, we're going to take turns running the ball, and it's pretty much going to be first to get into the end zone. Now, the graphics themselves don't look too terrible. I am playing on an emulator. The movement feels a little bit weird, and I tried to throw it to the running back there, but they called me for intentional grounding. We're going to be losing, and I guess I just need to scramble out of the pocket and get us some yards. Look at me run with the boxing glove on my hand. That wrap is huge, and if you look at the bottom of the screen, you can see how we're doing. It seems like each time we pick up yards, it will go back and forth. This is a huge gain from them. Someone please make a tackle. So Louisville is getting closer and closer to scoring, but that's an interception. If I take this back, will I win? Are we gonna win tug of war? That would be a fantastic start. I love beating our rivals. I can't wait to play the other 4 mini games, assuming this counts. And there it is. It says we won. Okay, it looks like we can switch mini games. I do want to see what bowling is, and it looks like you have 2 plays to get into the end zone. If you score on the first one, it's a strike, and if you score on the second one, it's a spare. This scoreboard on the bottom of the screen is sick. We just have to stop them from getting into the end zone, and I hope EA Sports puts cool stuff like this into the new NCAA football. All right, so we held them. They didn't get any points. If we get into the end zone, I think we get some points, but I'm finding it really hard to score, and this is about to be the lowest scoring bowling game that you all have ever seen. I am really curious to see how the Road to Glory and Dynasty mode looks, but I want to play this first. And now that we're going back and forth with strikes, it's really starting to heat up. I don't know how he caught that, but all we have to do is get one more stop. They ran 4 verticals. No one's open, and we're holding them. I'm not quite sure how they have 22 points right now to our 2 points, but I'm going to hopefully score here, and we are not going to. We catch it though, so I'm going to try to pound it in here, and our running back is going to fight. That's going to tie us up at 22, and if I understood how scoring in bowling works, this would make a lot more sense. I think we're going to get a stop. We have a flat out there. He sheds 1 tackle though, but we hold him. That did somehow get them the 29 points, but I am determined to scramble into the end zone here. Come on. I know I'm short, but I am much faster than that, and at least we're going to score. To avoid this game mode getting repetitive for you all, I'm going to cut near the end of this, and all I'm going to say is it is not looking good for us because we haven't been able to get a stop in so long. And come on, someone make the tackle. There's no way. I've tried my hardest to keep up, but that's going to be a terrible throw. And next up, let's see what the special teams challenge is. It looks like we're going to run special teams plays back and forth until someone scores. So in a sense, this is like the tug-of-war game mode, but it's only special teams plays, which should be good. Get out of there. Come on. So once we get in field goal range, it could be game over. All of the punts are going to be very important though. Let's see where this ball bounces, and come on. How do you not make a tackle there? Oh, he got all the way past the 50. I have to say, this game plays a lot different than NCAA Football 14, which is what I'm used to playing. But the one skill that should carry over is my punting ability, and I think this one's going to bounce out of bounds at about the 10. That puts us in a good position to have a big return here. Hopefully, we can get in field goal range and we can win. Why is wide receiver 8 so slow? He is going to get to the 30, and I know it says that I am a 42 overall kicker, but when I created my player, I gave myself realistic kicking stats. I had too many concussions to ever play football, but I played soccer my whole life, and the field goal is going to be good. We take the 3rd mini game over Louisville, and next up is going to be horse. It looks like we have 2 minutes to score as much as we can, only running the option, and I hope we're able to take down Louisville in this situation. We're going to get a nice gain here, and it looks like the clock just never stops. I don't know what the pitch button is on this game. It's not L1, so I'm going to try it here. Hopefully it does work. Never mind. I don't even need to pitch it on this play. How far can I go? Down to about the 45, and I need to figure out these controls fast. I really don't get them at all, but I am getting big runs, and an entire minute into this thing, I still haven't pitched the ball once. I don't know what button it is. It says triangle on my screen right here, but I am spamming the triangle button and nothing's working. I've tried every combination. It doesn't seem to want to work, so I'm going to have to do this myself. And we only have 30 seconds to get into the end zone at least once now. Come on. He did a fake pitch there, which didn't work, but we have got to score at least 1 touchdown on Louisville, down to the 10, and the clock is running out fast. Hike it, hike it, hike it. Get to the edge. Get to the edge, please. Score! We got one. We got one score. Unfortunately, it looks like there's no way to play against Louisville in that one, though. So we're going to move on to the last mini game, and that's horse. It says we're going to end up trading field goals back and forth, and you can spot the ball wherever you want, along with also adjusting the wind to make it easier or more difficult. I have 12-mile-per-hour winds in my face right now. I'm kicking from probably way too far. That was a bad spot. I can't believe you can play horse in NCAA football. This is a crazy feature. And look at this kick I'm about to attempt. I am on the sidelines completely, and I miss. Now they're attempting like a 65-yarder. There's no way they're making that. And I'm going to make a kick from this spot on the field if it's the last thing I do. It said that one barely missed, but I don't believe them, and they finally scored. So to avoid getting a letter, I have to make this kick, and it's going to be good. I am going to back it up for now just to see if you can at least make kicks from the sideline, which it looks like you can, and they're going to have to attempt it. I hope they miss this. That was such a hard one to make, and it is good. And since I decided this game would go on forever, I set the game to only 3 letters. That 25-mile-per-hour wind blew that last ball like crazy, but it's going to work for them. So I think we're just going to end up trading kicks back and forth. And honestly, the computer seems so dumb. They're attempting like 70-yarders. So first one to get a letter is going to win, and I'm not stopping until I make this kick, and it's good. I think it's good. Just to confirm an instant replay, I did hit a field goal from this angle, and there's no way that they match this. I would be devastated. I'm going to go ahead and take that as a win because I still want to play everything else. So I'm going to go ahead, auto name the rosters, and that's going to make everything else a lot more interesting. Now I think I want to save Dynasty mode the best for last, so we're going to try Campus Legend first, and it looks like I'm going to have to maintain the responsibilities of maintaining a good GPA. I think for this Road to Glory, I want to try being a running back, and I can't wait to play for my new high school. It says I have 4 rounds in the high school playoffs to prove to the scouts that I'm good enough, and here we go. This presentation already looks pretty sick. Coach called a pitch on my first run. I need to impress these scouts, and I have a huge lane here. My speed is just too fast. I'm going to break free, and this almost feels way too easy. I love that I started with a huge run though, and I kind of like this sim screen. It looks really neat, but that one run alone is not going to get me a scholarship offer to Kentucky. I have a lot of work to do, and that spin move is filthy. Keep on going. Why is my player so good? Like, this feels way too easy. I don't think it's on freshmen, but you know what? I'll take it. If we can somehow win, that's all that matters. And yeah, this difficulty is crazy. Like, this is just way too easy. Well, I'm a 4-star recruit after playing 1 game of high school football, and none of it's going to save because I've been stuck on this loading screen. Every single time I attempted, I kept getting stuck on the loading screen after I finished the game, but at least there was this music here to make me happy still. Unfortunately though, I am just gonna have to start in college, and the good thing was I already created myself so we can go in as myself. And the loading screen issue also persisted in this Road to Glory as well, so I have gone through it before, and I thought there were 2 things that were really cool. So first of all, if you go to academics, you have an actual GPA in Road to Glory, and the calendar in here looks pretty cool as well. The practice also freezes when I play it, so we're gonna have to sim that. But because you have a GPA, you can also select different evening events that have different statistical boosts. So let's say I choose that I want to go to the library. That's going to boost my GPA along with other stats. And every day you can improve your stats by choosing to have a trainer, study the playbook, hit the gym, or go to the library. Each one has their own negative and positive effects. I just thought that was really cool. Now, because of the loading screen issue, I am just going to have to sim these games. I can't play the whole Road to Glory in one video anyway, but I do want to take a moment and appreciate how cool the magazine features on this game are. I wish the newer ones still had this. And I can even change teams to see different campuses news. Even though I'm not controlling or playing for a team like BYU, I can switch to their team and see what's going on over there. Now, I probably should have chosen a better team to play Road to Glory with, so I'm just going to sim all the way to the end of the year. But it clearly didn't go too well as we went 4-7. In my freshman year, I did go for almost 2,500 passing yards, but a lot of turnovers, not many touchdowns, and a bad completion percentage. So I was thinking about jumping into the game at Tennessee, but it just doesn't seem worth it. What I'd rather do is finish the final 2 game modes in playing Mascot Mashup and then starting a new dynasty and trying to take that team to the top. And we're still going to save the best for last, so of course we're starting out with the Mascot mode first, and let's get some crazy combinations here. I'm going to see if I can get the Yellow Jackets to take down the Gators, and I have to say, I love the intro in this game. And they already look ridiculous out here. I don't know how anyone could take this seriously, but that's the whole point. It's just a fun game mode. I want to be on offense because you can do certain flips and stuff, and I'm going to rush in at the quarterback here. They're going to take the slant. We're getting a stop. I will say this game is a little pixely, and with some of the issues I've run into so far, I can't understand how this is the worst one. But even when I say this is the worst NCAA football game, it is by no means a bad game. Now, this is, what on earth is going on? There is no way my quarterback just made that throw. But yeah, I've had a good time on this still, even if it is technically the worst game ever. How do I do the flip? I can't remember what the exact controls are, but the blitz is getting in. And playing this honestly just makes me want to get started with Dynasty mode. They did the flip there though. That's what I'm talking about. I need to figure out how to do that the next time I have the ball. And here on 3rd down, let's see what they go with. I'm using it all. ball, and we're good. Intercept it, boys. That's what I like to see. A nice little turnover by the Mascot. I'm going to try the hurdle button and see if that's it. I forgot that Georgia Tech used to be only an option school, so this whole playbook is literally just running plays. I do want to see if I can do anything with their quarterback. He's too slow, though, and I still haven't gotten an opportunity to do the one cool game mode trick. Every time I go back and say the older games were better, when I actually play them, I do not miss it, but I think it's just a nostalgia thing, that's for sure. That has to be it, because I used to play NCAA Football 06 all the time as a kid, but I know now that if I went back and played it, I would not be as impressed.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
And I'm just trying to hold them here before the half, and there's the freeze. This is getting frustrating. I'm going to play my favorite game mode, Dynasty mode. I want to rebuild a school to end this video, but I'm going to flip through the conferences first. We probably shouldn't go to the ACC, the Big 10, the Big 12. The Big East is in this game. It looks like there are only 7 or 8 schools in here, but UConn's a good option, especially since they just won it in basketball. And here are the times where Utah and TCU and BYU were all in the Mountain West Conference. It's kind of crazy to see that over all these years, all the conferences have just been scrambled, and I finally found Boise State and Idaho. I'm actually going to take over UConn. But before we get into that, I have to give a huge thanks to today's video sponsor, Prize Picks. And with the NBA playoffs right around the corner, there's not a better time to get the app. You can play in over 30 states, so there's a good chance yours is eligible. And if you don't know what Prize Picks is, you simply pick 2 to 6 players and more or less on their projections. And if you're right, you can win up to 25 times the money. I think it makes watching sports more entertaining, so if you want some free cash to start out with, code BOARD or the first link in my description will double your initial deposit up to $100. And they have about every sport you can think of, so you might as well check it out. But remember, boys, play responsibly, and let's get back into NCAA Football 09. I'm excited to see what it used to look like. It looks like we have all the same options that you do in NCAA Football 14, and the scheduling screen doesn't really look like it's that much different. Another weird thing is you can't even tell when you redshirt a player besides that little icon. I will say I am enjoying the display and the close-up of the players here, because the display honestly looks way better than NCAA Football 14. As for recruiting, I don't see any differences in the features that are available compared to the other games, but again, the display just looks 10 times better. Like, look at this. This stands out. You can see the helmets of the top 3 teams, and I can search for ideal heights and ideal 40 times. So if I wanted to put in like a freak prospect, I could put a 426.5 receiver. It says there's only 3 players that might match that criteria, so I had to adjust it a little bit, and now we have a few players on the board to chase. Because I've never recruited on this game before, this display is confusing me a little bit, and it looks like I'm going to have to actually pitch them on certain things in the upcoming weeks, but for now, I can't do anything. It's always a great feature, again, though, to see these magazines. I love this as an in-depth feature, but I am disappointed to find out that the weekly practice isn't anything special. Like, this seems pretty dull. I think you can get the defense out here, but even then, this is nothing compared to like the off-season drills that were in old NCAA footballs. I'm not really a fan, but I am intrigued by the recruiting process because there's all these different options that you can do. Now, I am going to find out what calling this prospect does. It seems like I can talk about different things, and I want this guy, so I'm just going to offer him a scholarship off the jump. I'm going to see how he responds. He says this is exactly what he's looking for, but I need an answer, Lamont Sapp. I want to know if you're committed. Oh, well, next up is going to be John Jones. He's a 6'4" wide receiver, and he has no interest in coming here, so I think I have to talk to him. I have to kind of pitch these things, and it doesn't tell me if they're important to him, but I just have to kind of hope it does. I'm not sure what the difference is here, and I have no clue which of these things he's actually interested in. We're just going to see if this matters to him. He doesn't seem to care, but maybe coach prestige makes a difference. That's definitely important to him, and I'm going to hit hard sell pitch. I don't know what it does. Can I keep doing it? Am I getting him committed? I'm just going to keep hard selling him. That little picture in the top says he's smiling a ton. I'm going to offer him a scholarship. Is this how recruiting works? Apparently not. He's not very interested. Well, I'm just going to have to keep looking for things that he finds important, and it's none of these things. Maybe our fan base will make him really dedicated. He loves it. Let's hard sell him. Apparently there is a limit how long I can talk with him on the phone though, and even after all that, we're not even in his top 10. That was a very lengthy process. I'm going to see what quick call does, and I can kind of decide how much time to spend on him, plus offering a scholarship. Let's go ahead and do that. That didn't seem to do much as we moved up from 9th to 8th. And the craziest part is I have no clue what the overall these players actually is. It could say like C in that corner, but I have to try to offer them scholarships and stuff before they're even committed. This is definitely more difficult than I was expecting and very tedious. I am going to track recruiting and also let computer do parts of it because of it. But that's why you all have to be careful what you wish for with the new NCAA football game. You don't want them to complicate recruiting too much. It's not as enjoyable as you'd think. thing. Now, at some point, I am going to have to play games with this team. I do think we can win games against like Idaho, though. I'm not too worried about that. This is a rebuild. And I have good news as the number 10 defensive end in the country has committed to UConn. I'm also going to bug John Jones again. He's the super tall receiver. I'm going to schedule him a visit for Arkansas State. And I can plan the activities that he does while he's on his visit. Why can I tell him he's going to talk to professors? This is like the cool in-depth stuff that the old games had, but I don't know if people would have the patience for it nowadays. He's going to have dinner with the coaches, and I think he should also attend a pep rally. This is really neat. And I'm also going to bug him on the phone with as many phone calls as I can do. I don't care. Until he hangs up the phone, I'm just going to keep selling him on the program. That's how you recruit. And apparently I was on the phone too long because his player face isn't happy, and he said he hung up and he's done talking. I might have pushed my limits, but if we beat Arkansas State, I'm sure he'll still commit, and we're going to win. That in turn is going to get us to the top of John Jones' board. And I can't believe we're undefeated going into this Louisville game. Now, they also have not lost. I'm expecting them to beat us. This is when they were a good program. But you know what? We had a good start to the year, and I'm going to sim to the end. By week 10, I was happy to see that John Jones was also committed. And I would have never imagined us to be in the top 25, but there we were at 22. And of course, on top, it's the teams that you'd expect, like West Virginia and Pittsburgh at this time. I kind of hate that the Big East broke apart, but this first season ended up going a lot better than I expected it to. And by the end of the year, it looks like we only have a few players committed to the team. But at least we made a bowl game, which would be successful for UConn football fan. I'm not sure how we're ever going to win the Big East with Louisville, West Virginia, and Pitt in here though, but we'll see how next year goes. In our bowl game, just to end this year, we're going to actually lose, but we beat our rival Rutgers, so I still get an extension, which is great. It looks like these are the same tabs that are in NCAA football though, and it seems like all of our high overall players are going to be leaving the team. However, 2 players want to transfer in, and they're both above 80 overall, and we have one final week of recruiting. I'm not quite sure how this works. I think I have to hop on the phone with all these players.
6.5 hours later.
And now I'm advancing to week number 2 in the off-season recruiting period, which is much different than NCAA football 14. Evidently, I've convinced multiple players to come to our school, and that included James Glover that was just on pace to go to Syracuse. I don't like that there's an integrity bar based on if I keep these promises or not. I have to actually fulfill them. And to end out the recruiting period, we finished with the 33rd best class. For position changes, there are some severe overall drops for moving players around on the offensive line. And it turns out I forgot to get us a kicker. It also looks like players don't improve as much as they do on NCAA football 14 with the training results. Some of them did improve by 5, but most of them were like 1 and 2. But what's important is the freshmen I brought in, and Andrew Hemphill's a 75. Daniel Gilbert, who we stole from Syracuse, is a 77. John Jones, the 6'4 wide receiver, has 93 speed. I have tried my hardest to give us an easy schedule going into season number 2, knowing that we have a tough conference that's going to be hard to finish in. And apparently our running back Eric Williams has something to prove. I'm gonna go ahead and sim through the first 6 games, and then I'll get back to you all. It turns out we went 6-0 with a big win over our rivals, but the second half of the season is what is going to probably ruin us. If we don't beat Rutgers, I'm going to be very upset. They're not great at anything, and we go ahead and win. Maybe we are a good team this season. I feel like I brought in a lot of good recruits. There were already good players on the roster, and against Cincinnati, we're going to take our first loss. That's unfortunate because it's going to escalate our decline in the Big East. Well, I advanced the championship weekend. It looks like we did land a couple 4-star recruits, but of course we lost at West Virginia and at Pitt, so we went 9-3. And don't get me wrong, UConn fans would love that, but I really want to try to get this team a national championship before I stop playing NCAA football 09. I did end up getting a job offer to Oregon, which I think is insane, but I guess it shows I'm getting this team on pace to be great. I don't like that our 81 overall wide receiver thinks he is good enough to declare for the draft. I need to try to persuade him to say day. And also, why would our cornerback transfer to Army? I'm going to try to persuade him as well, and he's staying. We are losing a 91 overall and an 88 overall halfback though, and I'm honestly not sure if it's possible to recover from that after only landing a few commits so far. It also turns out the computer automatically redshirted a couple of these players because I didn't do it, and obviously Glover didn't make the All-American freshman team, so I'm losing my integrity with my promises. Clearly there's no way to have low effort recruiting on this game because we finished with the 77th class, and I don't want any of you to say a word about this schedule. We are going all in for a championship this season. After running through every single FCS school imaginable, we're playing at Syracuse, our rivals. We're starting the real season, and we're going to win by 22. I figured if we somehow can go undefeated, we have a chance at a championship, and we're 7-0 going into this Rutgers game, so if we lose this one, I'm going to be devastated. We actually blew them out, and that's going to make us undefeated going into West Virginia. I can't believe we are in this position. They're ranked number 3, we're ranked number 19, and it's time to jump into a game. I've been waiting to finally play again, and if we're going to win a national championship with UConn, this game is a must-win one, but they have a very fast returner. Come on, someone bring him down. Oh my goodness, this is not how the game is starting. You've got to be kidding me. All I want to do is bring UConn a national championship, and I'm going to throw this one up. I remember recruiting Jones. He's 6'4", and he is super big. John Jones alone might be the cheat code that actually gets us a win in today's game, but I'm going to try to throw a dot, and that could have been a pick. That could have been one, but it wasn't, which is why we still have the ball, and we are going to be just fine in this football game. There is a flag on this play. I'm not quite sure what it is. Our quarterback might be slower than Tom Brady, but he's going to fumble the ball. You've got to be kidding. This better be a flag on West Virginia. All right, ref, it's all in your hands. And thank goodness it was offside. It's just extremely hard to score on this defense. I can't run either, which is a huge issue. That's normally the thing that I'm best at. I'm going to try to find Jones. He holds on to it, and look at him going to work in the end zone. Okay, this time number 7 cannot get another kick return. I know he's quick. He's almost unstoppable. But that tackle animation was insane, and we're going to need a lot of those. They go with the play action here. I'm all over it, and that's an interception. That is going to be game-changing. The important part is we still got the ball, and I'm just going to throw this one up to 6'4". John Jones, who comes down with it? He is legitimately a cheat code. I'm just going to keep giving it to him. Okay, never mind. I need to throw jump balls, and that was not one. And what on earth is this? What play did the defense run? I don't know, dude. I just threw it straight to them. Oh, I get to kind of decide. I have a time limit, too. So those linebackers drop back. This is cover 3 all day. That is not man-to-man. All right, they said I was correct, and that is a really neat feature they had on this old game. I'm glad that I've stayed in this one. Give me that. All we have is a streak on the field. Go with the play action, and I don't have time to get a throw off. That is going to be the end of the first quarter, but you know what? We still got plenty of time, and there was way too much there. That is a beautiful bomb to Jones. How are we supposed to win a national championship with UConn if he can't hold on to stuff like that? I mean, this punt is going to bounce beautifully, and we're going to hit him hard, or we're going to miss, and the whole field is open. If number 7 scores on me again, I swear, we can't be having any of that. They're going to go with a run here, and their quarterback is wide open off the read option. Someone tackle him. It looks like if I hit L3, we can pump up the crowd. I can't hear them because the game audio was causing everything to glitch, but it looks like it worked, and they're just going to be giving us the ball back. Did they really just go with a fake? That's not going to work. So we're in a great position to take a lead before the half. Now, I don't like that they sent a blitz here, but I escaped the pocket, and you all see this press man 1-1 coverage over there. They already backed up their corners. They knew exactly what was coming. I'm still going to throw it up. Come on, come on. Highlight play. He holds on to it. We have the best wide receiver in the nation. You know, on the newer games, when you recruit players like that, they don't actually play that amazing, but on here, it is much different. If you have a physical freak, he seems to be dominating, and number 7's one of those athletic ones. I mean, I think we're going to go into the half with a great lead, and did they really just throw me the ball? Maybe I need to up the difficulty. I thought I wasn't playing very well, but I am going to super sim it until later in the game because of how well we're doing. By the fourth quarter, it's 3rd and 7, and we are still winning. Now, their running back was open, but they missed the throw by a margin. So they're going to be forced to just take their 3 points, and they're going to miss. I need to change the difficulty before the next one. Since I struggled in some of those mini games on varsity, I assumed it would have been fine for games too, but I guess not. I guess I'm too good. And now I'm in a position where I can chew the clock. There isn't an actual chew clock on this game, but apparently I can coach my players, and I'm going to tell them to block better. That is awesome. I'm not sure what it actually does, but that's just a cool feature to think of existing, and yeah, this is pretty much over. All we need is one more big play to take down the 3rd best team in the country, and I'm bombing it up to Jones. They weren't expecting it. He comes down with it. What on earth is going on? And this means we're going to beat the number 3 team in the country. I do remember Pontiac game-changing performances in the older games, so that's a cool feature to see, but the menu screen is frozen again. Fortunately, we still got the result through sim, and our team overall must be pretty high if we're still winning stuff like that. Against Pitt, we're going to actually win 38-31 again, and hopefully we can finish out the rest of the regular season undefeated. Well, that looks good. It says we won a Big East championship, and thank goodness we ended up beating Louisville in overtime 38-31. I guess the real question will be is if our schedule was too easy or if we're a top 2 team, because only 2 teams made the Natty back then, and for us, Ohio State took the top spot, and we're number 3. You've got to be kidding me. Georgia Tech went 12-0. I'm guessing that means we're not going to make the national championship. Our Heisman wide receiver wasn't actually the guy I thought it would be, but here's the moment of truth. I'm advancing, and we made it. What on earth happened? The Yellow Jackets were topping us out last time.
What do you mean by that?
You know what? The magazine cover says that they lost to Clemson in the conference championship, and I guess the Big East didn't have one at the time. Either way, you won't see me complaining. I'm gonna go ahead and put this thing on Heisman, and I'm ready to get into UConn's first national championship in football. It says we only have a 79 overall team, but that honestly doesn't even make any sense to me. And it's time for the biggest moment in Connecticut football history. Let's go, boys. We have to stop them on kick returns. We can't give anything up. It is on Heisman, so that will make things a lot more difficult. I'm not good at this game, and we're just gonna have to lock up. We can't give up any easy plays. place. Their quarterback's getting sacked here, so that's huge. It's an amazing start for us. I'm all over that, and we're getting the ball back early. On first down, I think it's safe to just go with this out route, and that's a great catch. One thing I haven't mentioned while playing this game is the scoreboard, and I just think it looks sick with the helmets. I probably should throw it up on third down after this bad run, because it's already 3rd and 7. We have a wide open tight end, but he can't catch it. But you know what? I'm going with the fake punt play. I am not going to give Ohio State the ball back before they deserve it, and it's a bad throw. Well, you know what? That probably was not my smartest decision, but he's throwing an interception right back to us. And you know what? I'm going to do what worked in the last game. I'm going to throw it up. It looks like that was the backup quarterback. It was a lefty, but he dropped it. It turns out our quarterback has bruised ribs, but we need him now, and I can sub him in from the injury report. They're making a mistake pressing Jones here. I don't know why they just did it. I already threw it up to him once. I will do it again, and this is such a cool animation. He must just be that good. It was not all difficulty last game for the reason he was pulling off those crazy catches. It probably did contribute to it, but he is also really dominant on his own, and that is a dot. And that animation was beautiful. I can't believe this is the worst NCAA football ever. Playing these old games, though, really does get me excited for the new one coming out in about a year, maybe a little bit longer, like 15, 16 months. And it seems like back in the 2000s, the 2010s, the video games were just in like an experimental period. They would try out new fun features like the mini games or having the GPA in Road to Glory, and stuff like that work. I don't know, football games just feel so stale now. I kind of really enjoyed this, even if the quality on the graphics isn't great. Well, they're clearly going to get in, and it's back to being a tied game. We all know what's coming on offense. They are pressing Jones. They don't have safety help over top. What are you doing? Why are you pressing the 93 speed 6'4" wide receiver Ohio State? I don't know who told you it was a smart idea, but it is not. And my goal is just to end the first half with a touchdown. That needs to be a first though, but it wasn't, and I am not willing to settle for 3, giving Ohio State the ball back. I'm going to try to scramble for the first down. L1's wide open. I'm snapping this ball immediately. I do not want them to try to look at that. And understand, you're on 3rd and goal now. Jones, wide open. Going into halftime, I'm confident. And let's finish this one out in the second and bring UConn home a national championship. I'm really not sure why they're pressing Jones again. It has not worked for them yet, and it probably won't work again. That guy's running with him, but he's just taller. Moss him, moss him. That's unfortunate. He should have held on to that, but it's okay. And this time, it's going to be a catch. What a pull-in. It's like I have prime Calvin Johnson just chilling on one side of the field. I love this game now. And Keller making a guy miss. This game's starting to grow on me even more. I really just don't believe it's the worst one. But after combining reviews from 3 different sites, this is the one, so I don't know. And I really just don't see how. It is 3rd and 7 for Ohio State. That's going to be a flag. And I bet they're going to say pass interference. I ran into him. Which is unfortunate, but they had the first down anyway, so it doesn't matter. I mean, I bumped up the difficulty to Heisman, and we've still done a very good job. They could come back in the final seconds, which would not be good, but I am determined to make sure that doesn't happen. Sit down. There will be no easy points on this team. Halfback toss, that's not going anywhere. Oh my gosh, that juke move was insane. And when they're expecting the run, there is only one thing I can think of doing. Play action. Chuck it up. How can our quarterback throw it that far? It's incredible. It works. But the drops are really going to hurt us in the end. I blocked a lot of people here to do it one more time. There's 2 guys on him. I think he still comes down with it. I just realized I might have blown this game in trying to get more Moss highlights. That is very, very frustrating. I thought those were guarantees the way they worked in the first half, but I must have gotten lucky. I don't know why they're running the ball. They need to pass. Because with only 2 minutes remaining, they're trailing by 7, and that's it. How do you not catch it? He practically had a national championship in his hands, and now their quarterback's running. Hit him. That's a stop. We should be good. We just have to run it out for 3 more plays. And again, this is where I tell my offensive linemen to block better. I feel like we are in kicking range, so on 3rd down, I am going to go for all the glory. I want the first down, but we're going to take a sack. Are you serious? It says we can still make this. I hope our kicker's good enough. Terry, can you do it for me? And look at that. He nailed it. It has been done. I finally got UConn a national championship. I am hoping to see a celebration, but in the end, it never came. Anyways, even though it was the worst reviewed NCAA football game, I don't think 09 is that bad. And let me know in the comments which other ones you want me to try out.